Hello and welcome to the Genuine Learning Blog. My name is Melissa Galasso, and today we're going to talk about another QM proposal. Many of you who are longtime listeners are probably thinking, but Melissa, didn't we already talk about this multiple times on the blog this year? And that answer would be yes, we talked about it at least 4 times that I can remember just this year alone. And so today we're going to talk about a new proposal that was issued by ARSC addressing the SARS. So let's dive on in. So in terms of the quality management, right, when we think about this, there have already been 3 standards proposed. The first one was SQMS 1, which was related to a firm's system of quality management, right, replacing the quality control standards with quality management. Then we had SQMS 2, which separated out for the first time the engagement quality review section. So it's a separate section. If you choose to use that as your response to your risk, then you would also follow SQMS number 2. At the same time as they issued those SQMSs, they also issued a proposed SAS. And the proposed SAS was quality management with for an engagement conducted in accordance with GAS. So again, the SQMSs are firm-wide and apply across all of the different types of engagements performed by the firm. The SAS was how do I use the firm's system when I'm on a particular engagement. And so that has already been proposed. Comments were due back in August of 2021. Now, those were all issued through the Auditing Standards Board. Now, ARSC has issued a quality management for engagement performance in accordance with SARS. So SARS is issued by ARSC, a different standard setting body, and this was issued yesterday, November 3rd, and comments are due January 31st of 2022. And so again, this is what we would expect in this scenario. SARS has taken a little bit of a hiatus, SARS 25 effective this year, and since they have issued that, they really haven't had a lot of standard setting momentum. They've actually been meeting remotely, less frequently, but they're a wonderful group of people. And so it was not unexpected that if we were going to make major changes to the QC standards, which will now be the QM standards, and we were going to make changes to how it applies to audits, we probably need to think about, well, how does it apply to our comp and review practice? And so remember, our QC, soon to be called QM, applies to all CPA firms with respects to engagements conducted in accordance with accounting or auditing standards. And so that includes SARS and SASs. It also includes attestation engagements as well. And so when we look at this comp and review standard, we now have to say, okay, well, SARS needs to talk about how do we do this at the engagement level. And the good news is they didn't try to recreate anything. Instead, they really tried to be consistent with the proposed auditing standards. So same terminology, same sort of, linkage, same kind of changes that were in the audit standard. They are trying to basically do conforming edits here to ensure that the SARs are consistent with the proposed audit standard. So we don't see a huge difference from what they've already proposed in the audit standard, but it has to be obviously done specifically for these SARS engagements. Now, completely separate from that, so that is what we kind of expect. Instead of doing it as a separate proposal, I totally get it, 2 birds for 1 stone, they also decided to make a technical correction. So in a recent standard, I believe it's SARS 25, but I'm not exactly sure, but I'm like 90% sure it's SARS 25. They edited this sentence, the accountant should agree upon the terms of the engagement with management or those charged with governance as appropriate. They added prior to performing the engagement. Now, obviously, it is a best practice to get the engagement letter prior to starting a review engagement, right? That makes sense of any engagement. However, that revision was not included in the preparation engagements. It was not included in the compilation engagements. It was not included in the pro forma financial statements, and it's not in the corresponding audit or attestation standards. And so since it is more restrictive than the extant standard, right? It's prescriptive. It's more difficult than what's elsewhere. While it is a best practice, is it necessarily to mandate it? And so the proposed revision here is to remove that additional language and still note that it's a best practice, but not make it a mandatory requirement. And so again, this is a technical correction. If it was approved, it would be effective upon issuance, unlike the rest of the proposal here, because again, they don't think this is changing real practice. For the QM standards, it would be effective consistent with the audit proposal, which would be for anything performed in accordance with SSARS ending on or after December 15, 2024. Early implementation would be permitted consistent again with the QM and the audit proposal. So basically what they're trying to do here is they are trying to align the implementation of the new QM system for the firm and then the implementation at the engagement level similar to what they did with the audit standard. So the audit standard and the SSARS standard would be consistent. So if you were not really paying attention in the early part of this year to the QM changes because you thought it was only going to impact the audit standards, I think this is a good reminder that QM applies, right? Quality applies to all engagements that we're performing, not just audits. And so this would be a good opportunity to take a look at how this would impact potentially your comp and review practice. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you on a future blog. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.